Hey guys, Craig here. What we're going to do, because I haven't done anything in a while, is we're going to do a quick video update on everything that I've built since the last thing I posted. So we'll start on the right then. Start with this thing. This is the 1/48 scale Huey UH1M. I've done it in the ISAF colours, as you can see. Not particularly overly fond of this kit. If any of you watched the build thread, I weren't particularly happy with the build. Loads of gaps all over the place. Bits don't fit properly. The instructions don't match the parts on the sprue. The decals didn't really match the instructions neither. It was just a bit of a ball ache, to be honest. But that's the finished product, as you can see. It's been weathered up. It's got pigments and everything on there for the smoke at the back. Like I said, I've done it in the Italian ISAF variety. On the back there, it's had burnt metal and everything on the exhausts, which was the MIG paints. You're not really going to see that, I don't think. It's not going to zoom in for you good enough. Let's try to get that zoomed. There you go. Oh. Zoom in a bit more. No, it's not going to focus. Is it going to focus on something? There we go. So the exhausts are all done. It's got the MIG pigments, burnt metal on there, and jet exhaust. It's been dry brushed with aluminium, giving you all the sort of scratches and everything all over the place. And that's generally it, really. Like I said, not particularly overly fond of this kit. I'll probably never do another Italeri Huey ever again. Not much else to say about it, really. So that's the ISAF Huey. Going back a little bit, I did the Kinetic 4x4 MRAP. This is going to go on a diorama with a Chally 2 as soon as that's finished, which is only got the optics to go. Absolutely love this little kit. It's awesome. The only downside is, for me, because I've got the doors and everything closed, all the detail on the inside's lost. Because obviously I've got the doors and everything closed and the back hatch is closed. But the interior on it, particularly the front, around the driver's cab and everything, is absolutely spot on with the detail. The back's a little bit less to be desired, but there's plenty of scope to put accessories in there and really beef up the interior. Bit of a strange kit. Plastic, but it's got that sort of mini art vacuum form sort of feel to it for those that have never built one. And when you're cutting and trimming the plastics, it really does feel like styrofoam, like that mini art vacuum form stuff. Pretty strange, but there you go. This has just been basically weathered up, loads of oils all over it, bits of rust, tow cables all over the shop. Yeah, I was going to do some lighting on it, but decided totally against it. Basically because there wasn't really enough room to do anything with it. But anyhow, there you go. Oh, let's try and spin it around a bit more. That's the back end of it. So that's the MRAP. So that's going to go on the Dio with the Chally 2, like I said. We'll see how that turns out. Next up is the Hobby Boss Merkava, 1/35 scale Merkava 4. First Israeli tank I've ever done. Actually really enjoyed this one. It's when you're building this thing, it's in three major stages. You've got the hull and the tracks and the wheels, the upper hull and the turret. The turret, believe it or not, is actually half the build. Putting the bottom bits together is pretty quickly, but the turret is a complete nightmare. Particularly when you get onto these balls and chains. As you can see there, they are real ball and chains. And that's a little bit interesting when you're trying to put the things together, trying to get them on these little clasps and everything that you see, what they're all hooked onto. Getting the balls hooked over. Complete nightmare. And I found they didn't supply enough chain in the kit to do the whole rear of the turret. So what I ended up doing was going to a charity shop, getting a cheap, nasty £1 sort of like necklace, and using that to finish off the rest of the ball and chains. The only downside to this kit that I found is you can have the rear door open, which is in there. For those that know Macavers, it doubles up as an APC. But the escape hatch there, or the door to get the troops in and out, you can have it open, but there's no interior to it. And I haven't seen an interior kit for it. I could be wrong. But looking in there with the doors open, you're just going to see a totally empty hole. It looked kind of stupid, unless you can scratch build your own interior for it. But that's the only downside to this bad boy. And like I said, it's the total first Israeli tank, totally different to what I'm used to. The paint scheme's the cyanide grey, heavily weathered. It's got all the photo etch put onto it. There is extra photo etch bits to really do up that turret. But I didn't bother, I just used what come in the kit. Absolutely beautiful tank, to be honest. And I didn't actually realise how big this bad boy is. It's heavier than the Charlie 2, weighing in at 74 tonne, or ish, 74, 75 tonne. The turret absolutely dwarfs the Charlie 2s. And it's just as long and just as wide, with all the extra armour on the Charlie 2, which I'll show you in a second. But the Macaver, this is going to go on its own dio. Now I'm going to do a street scene. I'm just waiting for the rest of the bits to turn up. There's going to be a Hilux and everything in there with that one. I'm going to use the Mini Art garage, Middle Eastern garage. We're going to do sort of like something that's current going on in the news at the minute with Israel and Syria and stuff like that. So that's that one done. Next up on the back is the Charlie 1 Mark III. If my figures can go back in the turret. Right, there we go. Charlie 1 Mark III. This is done in Desert Storm colours, as you can obviously tell. Totally out of the box. No extras on it. This is how it comes, basically. I didn't put the armour on the front because the Charlie 2's got that on, so I didn't want two tanks looking pretty much identical, because the only difference really would have been the lights and the turret. But this is totally out of the box. And as I was a kid, growing up through the first Gulf War, I come across Charlie 1s quite a lot, to be honest. And because my dad was Remy as well, he was Army. He used to do a lot with the old Challenger and Chief of Arms and that. And we were always recovering these things, or seeing them getting recovered, should I say, because I was like 10, 11 years old, something like that. So we always used to see these Charlies in the workshops getting repaired and fixed and everything. So I've got a little bit of a special place in my heart for the old Challenger, particularly this one. But anyhow, as you can see, totally heavily weathered up. All the soot and everything off of the exhaust coming out there. Bits of rust coming down the old armour plating. Dust and crap all over the place, really. Something that I noticed that Tamiya didn't do, it's got the extra antenna mount there, but they don't actually give you the antenna. This one I took off of the Charlie 2, because you get a spare one in the kit with that. So I put the extra one on there for the extra antennas. It's just a shame Tamiya didn't pick up on that. On the back of the turret, I've put the orange identification panel, air identification panel, to stop things like A-10s and that accidentally shooting you, as they did in the first Gulf, with a convoy of warriors and that. The A-10 come in, strafe the warriors. Really bad day out for everyone involved. So it's got the marker on there. I've made a little tarpaulin for the front here, on the front basket. These are just made out of tissue paper and PVA, basically. And that's pretty much the Charlie 1, to be fair. Let's try and get a back end view for you. There's a back end for you, up there. Oh, try and zoom in, there you go. So, everything still moves and works as it should do, as per the instructions. Turret and everything spins. Tracks and that still go backwards and forwards. And that's pretty much the Charlie 1. So we'll try and move that one out of the way. So yeah, Charlie 2. This is the Tamiya 135th Charlie 2. As you can see, if this stupid phone focuses in, I'll actually get some detail on there. There you go. Out of the box, it's the Tamiya 135th Charlie 2. It's got the full Edouard photo etch on there. As you can see, it's all grimy and like it's actually had a bit of action out in theatre. The flaps on the bottom of the track there, I've tried to get looking like proper used, sort of like rubbery canvas as they are. I don't really like the look of them, to be honest, but they're there. Everything that you see on here with the photo etch is the Eduard set, so all the panelling here, panels on the front, everything to do with the Gympie, that's all photo etch. All the extra detail on the inside of the togs there is photo etch in there. There's photo etch all over it. There's like 2 frets of the stuff, straps and all sorts of stuff going on. This is the 7th Armoured Desert Rats Charlie 2 anyhow, with the markings on there. As you can see, the exhausts heavily weathered, all sorts of stuff going on there. It's got all the jet exhaust, burnt metal, pigments for the rust and everything on there, because obviously the thing's getting so hot while it's out in desert conditions. If it will zoom in again, this phone is absolutely pants. To give it that sort of like proper used, really getting warm exhaust thing going on there. As you can see, going down the side of the exhaust, the paint's coming off, and rust's coming through where it's just getting so hot. On the end, it's got the smoke pigments and that. Same with all over the barrels and everything. All the exhaust smoke and that going on. There's the back end where you've got the field telephone. You've got the first aid kit and everything in between the barrels. I didn't put the jerry cans on the jerry can holder. Maybe I should have done, but decided against it. I've also left off the mud flaps on the back. I thought they looked really big and bulky, and I just decided to leave them off, to be perfectly honest. I prefer the look without them. So at least you can see some track going on there rather than being hidden behind all these side skirts. Everything on the back there, the white panelling again, all this is all the Eduard photo etch set put on the back. You got all the gunner and commander and that up there. You got the what do you call that? That bit there. Target identification viewer thing. You got the gunner's sight and everything on the left hand side, machine gun on the right hand side, and then you got the actual main armaments targeting system. On the front here, as you can notice, I've only got one fire extinguisher. The other side's empty because it was photo etch going on in the side there. I thought, well, let's just show the detail on one side. The fire extinguisher's been used, they just ain't got a chance to replace the fire extinguisher yet, so I thought I'd leave the bracket empty, so at least you can see the focus in, so at least you can see what's going on there. Got a little bit of orange to put on the indicators up here, and on here I've just got the optics to finish on the actual tank. Everything's got Formula 560 all over it. It just needs the iridescent paints to go on there to give it that anti-reflective stuff. And that's pretty much the Charlie 2. So to give you a size comparison against the Macabre. So there's the Macabre, as you can see. Let's look at it from the top so you can get a good perspective from the top. The Macabre is quite considerably larger or wider than the Charlie 2, which I was actually surprised about, because I honestly thought that the Macabre was quite a small tank up until I built the thing, and then realised no, it's actually quite a beast. So that's that. The Charlie 2 is going to go on a Dio with the M wrap in the back there. So that's pretty much all the armour done. And the one thing that I've just finished, I finished the base today, so you guys that are watching the video are going to see it first before anybody else, is the F-15 that I've been building. Now, there it is there. Have a quick chat about this bad boy, then I'll turn the lights out so you can see it. So the base then, as you can see, Now I've basically got a very large scale, high definition aerial view of Baghdad. Stuck that under the frame. That's I was going to say Pyrex Perspex, or clear styrene, whatever you want to call it. Basically drilled through. It's got a mount underneath, mounting pole and everything there. Light switch on the front, and the power supplies on the back. This is the Revell 148 scale F-15E Striking Eagle. First large scale aircraft that I've built in a very long time. The only one that I built close to this size was a 132nd Spitfire, and this F-15 is bigger than the Spitfire, believe it or not, at 148. But hey ho. The whole cockpit is fully lit up. It's got all the lights and everything in there, all the heads-up displays and that work. The hood on the top here actually glows up as well. If it focuses in when the lights are out, you might actually see what I've painted on there as well, like a little head-up display thing. Basically weathered. It's in dark sea grey, and then it's been panel lined with the oils to give you all the panel lining on there. The only thing that I'm not too keen on this kit particularly is some of the decals. I don't know if it will zoom in close enough. Let's try and do that. I don't know if it will zoom in, but we'll have a go. No, it's not going to zoom in and clear up any for you. Yeah, it might. That one's a prime example. You can maybe just about see on there that it's the decals actually silver up a little bit. You can clearly see the decals. But other than that, fit was pretty good. Fitting the pole wasn't so good. One thing that I thought Revell skimped on a little bit, the lights on the wings, the marker lights up here, they could have put a clear part in there. Could have done, but they didn't. They'd moulded the whole thing. So I've had to cut them out and use Formula 560. The wings, these parts here are a totally solid piece, so I couldn't get any fibre optics in the end for the nav lights on the end. And had they done, if it had been two parts, I maybe could have got the luminescent marker panels, these parts here, maybe could have got those glowing up slightly green as well. Same with on the nose. I couldn't get them lit up green, purely because of where the cockpit actually sits on the inside. There was just not enough room to do anything with it. Same on the rear pylons here. These are complete parts. So there's absolutely nothing I could do with the marker lights at the back up here. Otherwise I could have got some fibre optics or something in there, and they're so thin that I couldn't put a trench in to put a couple of wires down. And even if I had done, I couldn't have got them in the actual ends of the... It's not going to zoom in properly, is it? It's not... There you go, kind of. You can see how thin that is. There's no way I could have put a channel in or anything, or put any fibre optics in there to run down and in to put the lights on the back. So that's that. Exhaust and that then. It's got the, on the top, aluminium. That is Duraminium, which it's kind of got like a bluey reddy tinge. You can kind of just about get the gist on the video there. But it's not pure aluminium, it's like a burnt metally sort of effect going on. Again, that was the... It wasn't MIG, it was AK Interactive's Extreme Metal. The exhausts themselves, mixture of aluminium, burnt jet exhaust, and burnt metal going on the actual exhausts themselves. They put a lot of time and effort and detail into those nozzles, to be honest, but the instructions weren't exactly brilliant on how to follow it. Maybe could have made the instructions a little bit better on the whole kit, to be fair. I can't really spin it around because the wire and that plugged in. Let's try go the other way. This side is pretty much identical to the other side. It's just different decals. So on this one, for example, on this side you've got the Tiger and everything. if it will zoom in and actually focus on something. Man, I really need to get a better phone or a better camera. Let's try and zoom in on something. There you go. So you've got the decals and that going on there. You can really see it, the silvering on the Tiger there. It's not too bad in the flesh. The camera's popping it out more than it should, especially coming down here as well. You can see it's going a little bit silver behind there. Just crap decals, to be perfectly honest. Refueling port and everything on the top, and then you've got all the weapon load on there. You've got the AMRAAMs, Sidewinders, you've got the laser guided bombs, the extra fuel tanks. I don't know if you can see underneath. You've got the extra tank on the bottom there, and then you've got the exhaust and everything still on the back, done in the same sort of technique. But anyway, I'm waffling crap now. Right, let's try and turn that around again so we can get to the switch, because I'm doing this all one-handed. So with the lights on, as you can see, the cockpit's all lit up. You've got all the heads-up displays and that for the co-pilot in the rear. You can just see underneath there all the little gauges and that are lit up white. You can, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but oh yeah, you can. You've got the little all the little switches and that on the side panels. Same on this one for the undercarriage and everything. You can just about see it on the pilot seat. Oh. All the controls and that are lit up again. You'll see it better when the lights are out. Same on that side, look, you've got all the little lights on the control panels on the sides. Same on that side. As you can see, the hood's lit up. Kind of got a little bit of heads-up display going on there. This was my other big bugbear, was this seam going across the top. I've never come across that before on a canopy. And it is just literally where it's come out of the mould. I didn't know how to get rid of it, so I've left it. But that's the one thing that's really gripping my shit with this one, because it looks stupid, that big line going straight down the canopy. But anyhow, moving on. Got the marker lights on the wings in red, and then in the back we've got the flickering LEDs for the exhausts, to give it that sort of like sense of movement. As you can see, there's some cotton wool up there. That's just to dim down the LED a little bit, because it was a little bit too bright. So if anyone's looking in the back to have a look in there, probably would have blinded them, to be fair. But they're super bright LEDs I've used. So saying that, let's try and turn the lights off. So there's the wings, the marker lights. There's the canopy all lit up. You can now see all the little green lights in the side in there. Same on that side. All the footwells are lit. You can see the hood is lit up in the front there. Don't know if it will zoom in much. They're super bright LEDs, you know. So it's got J.J. Abrams going on, got lens flare and all sorts going on. But you get the gist. Everything's all lit up. All the panels and that are lit up. There you go. Let's try and get in there. It's not going to focus again. But that's that anyhow. That's cockpit. If any of you see it in the flesh, I think you'll be quite impressed. And then the exhausts at the back. You can see them all flickering away. Get that sense of movement flying over Baghdad. So that's where I'm at, guys. That is everything that I've built recently. I've just been a little bit slack on all the build logs because I just, to be perfectly honest, I couldn't be asked. So there we go. So that's everybody caught up with everything. There's all the tanks and everything. The MRAP, the Huey, and finally the F-15. What's next on the bench? Absolutely nothing at the minute. So I'm going to have to go think of something that I'm going to do next. But other than that, once I've figured out what I'm going to do, I'll let you guys know. Hope you've enjoyed that little bit of an update, and seeing this stuff in the flesh, and that they are actually real things, rather than just pictures on Google Plus or whatever. So there you go. That's me signing off for now. See you later.